I'm Lila, 36 years old, and I built a tech company from scratch, now worth $100 million. It started with just an idea and sheer grit. After 12 years of marriage, my husband left me for another woman, but my business was all mine, or so I thought. Then his new wife stormed into my board meeting, demanding half of everything I'd created. What happened next turned my world upside down. I'm dying to share how I tackled this wild situation. Where are you reading from? If you love stories about women who fight back, give this a like and follow for more. I grew up in a modest Seattle neighborhood. My parents didn't have much money, but they gave me something priceless: the belief that hard work and education could open any door. Dad worked at a bank, and Mom taught second graders. They scraped together every cent to give me chances they never had. Computers hooked me early on. While other kids played with toys, I was dismantling our family PC to figure out how it ticked. My parents were nervous at first but soon cheered me on. By high school, I was building websites for local shops to make extra cash. This was the early 2000s, when businesses were just starting to need an online presence. I graduated high school with honors and landed a scholarship to study computer science at the University of Washington. College was where I found my tribe, people as obsessed with tech and innovation as I was. It's also where I met Jason, a business administration student. We clicked over a silly moment, both grabbing for the last blueberry muffin at a campus coffee shop. Rom-com cliché, I know, but it's true. He let me have the muffin and I shared it. We talked for 4 hours about our dreams. Jason was charming and driven, fascinated by my tech ideas. He wanted to run his own business someday, and I dreamed of software that would change how small businesses work. Our skills seemed like a perfect match, not just for love but maybe for a future business too. We dated through college. After graduation, Jason joined a marketing firm, and I worked at a tech company to build experience. Nights and weekends, I tinkered with my own software projects. Jason would hang out, tossing ideas or bringing coffee during my late-night coding marathons. We got married at 25, 3 years after college. Those early married years were great. We lived in a cozy apartment, saved what we could, and cheered each other on. Jason was rising fast at his firm, and I was soaking up skills at my tech job. Deep down, though, I knew I wanted to launch my own company. I saw a gap in the market and created a customer relationship management software for small businesses. Other options were too pricey or too complicated. My software was user-friendly, affordable, and exactly what small businesses needed. I knew it was time to dive in. Getting investors to back a woman in tech was tough. One asked if my husband would handle the business side. Another told me to find a male co-founder to seem more credible. Those comments only fueled my determination. With no investors stepping up, I took $10,000 from our savings and started the company in our garage. Jason supported me but was nervous about money. He wanted me to keep my day job and build the business on the side. I knew that wouldn't work. My idea needed all my focus. So I quit my job and worked 18-hour days to make it happen. Those first 6 months were brutal. No income, growing credit card debt, and constant fear of failure hit hard. Jason grew uneasy about our finances. The guy who used to bring me coffee during late-night coding sessions started doubting every move I made. But I kept going. I cold-called businesses, offering free trials, and landed my first 5 clients through pure persistence. They loved the software and spread the word. Within a year, I had 100 clients and hired my first employee. But as the business grew, Jason and I drifted apart. When the company hit a $1 million valuation after 2 years, I was over the moon. Jason acted happy, but something felt off. He started calling the company our success, even though he'd only offered encouragement early on. By year 3, I had 15 employees and moved into a proper office. Our software helped over 1,000 small businesses, and we were making profits. Jason suggested he join as an executive. The problem? He knew nothing about tech or our customers. When I explained this gently, he took it personally. That's when I saw our relationship change. Jason got controlling about our money, demanding details about the company's income and expenses. He complained about my long hours but also pushed me to grow the business faster. It was draining and confusing. Then Vanessa showed up. She was the new marketing director at Jason's firm. Suddenly, he was working late nights and weekends, just like I did. He kept talking about Vanessa's brilliant marketing ideas. I was so focused on my growing company that I missed the obvious warning signs. My company hit a $10 million valuation in its 4th year. Business magazines featured us, and I got invites to speak at tech conferences. But as my star rose, Jason grew cold and bitter. The first real clue came when he left his phone unlocked. A text from Vanessa popped up. "I miss you already. Can't wait for tomorrow." That night, I confronted him. He brushed it off, saying they were just colleagues working on a project. He called me paranoid, jealous of his success. His words stung, making me question myself. To avoid more fights, I buried myself in work. We landed a huge deal with a national retailer, putting our software in thousands more businesses. We grew to 30 employees and moved to a bigger office. When we hit $50 million in valuation, I planned a celebration with Jason. I booked our favorite restaurant, bought pricey champagne, and left work early. But Jason called, saying he'd be late again. Determined to surprise him, I grabbed takeout from our favorite spot and headed to his office. The security guard let me in after hours. The office was dark, except for a light in the conference room. Through the glass door, I saw Jason and Vanessa. No work, no laptops, just wine and intimate laughter. I froze, watching my husband with another woman, unable to move or speak. I didn't confront them. Instead, I slipped out, went home, and poured myself a glass of that champagne. Alone, I planned my next steps. My company needed me sharp and steady. Millions of dollars and dozens of employees relied on me. I couldn't crumble. The next morning, I acted normal, led a product meeting, and quietly called our lawyers to protect the business in case of divorce. When Jason got home that night, I asked if he had anything to tell me. His face gave him away. He knew he was caught. He tried denying the affair, claiming Vanessa was just a colleague. But when I described what I saw, his excuses fell apart. After a pause, he admitted he had feelings for her. No apology, just the truth I already knew. I told him to pack a bag and leave that night. He didn't fight it, almost relieved the lies were over. I sat in our living room until dawn, feeling betrayal, anger, grief, and strangely, clarity. His late nights, criticism, and resentment toward my success all clicked. He'd checked out of our marriage long ago. The morning after Jason left, I called my lawyer. I had to know what a divorce could mean for my company. We lived in a community property state, where assets from marriage usually split 50-50ths. I started the business 2 years into our marriage. My lawyer said Jason's lack of involvement, no work, no money invested, and his own career, could sway things my way, but nothing was certain. That afternoon, Jason texted, wanting to meet and talk next steps. We chose a quiet downtown cafe. He showed up with a folder, and my stomach dropped. He'd already seen a lawyer. He demanded 50% of my company, claiming his early emotional and financial support made it possible. I reminded him he'd tried to talk me out of quitting my job to start the business. He shrugged it off as responsible caution. I stayed calm, saying the courts would decide. As I got up to leave, he grabbed my wrist and sneered. "You'd be nothing without me. Your company would be nothing without me." His jealousy and entitlement shocked me. This wasn't the Jason I knew. I pulled my hand away, walked out, and called my lawyer from the car. The next few weeks were intense. Jason moved in with Vanessa, not bothering to hide their relationship. I dove into gathering evidence for the legal fight, emails, financial records, anything proving the company was mine alone. Then I found something chilling. Someone had accessed sensitive company files, client lists, product plans, using Jason's home computer. The timestamps matched nights he claimed to be working late. Worse, that data had been sent to a competitor's email address. I alerted my cybersecurity team to lock everything down and told my lawyer. The divorce case shifted when we showed evidence of Jason's possible corporate espionage. His lawyers denied it, but the digital proof was strong. The judge ordered a forensic review of his devices. The results were shocking. Jason had accessed confidential files, and emails showed him discussing their value with a competitor. In one email he wrote, "My wife doesn't know I have this. She thinks her company is all her doing, but I deserve a cut. Jason's betrayal changed the divorce case. It went from a fight over assets to a probe into corporate espionage. The judge had no sympathy for Jason's claims to my company after seeing proof of his actions. I stayed focused on the business. We tightened security, calmed clients about their data, and kept growing despite the chaos. My team stepped up, working extra hours to meet every deadline. After 6 tough months in court, the judge ruled in my favor. Thanks to Jason's attempt to sabotage the company, it stayed 100% mine. He got his share of our house and savings, but the business was declared mine alone. Jason was livid. He yelled at his lawyers in the courthouse hallway, swearing he'd appeal and keep fighting. His embarrassed attorney dragged him away. 2 weeks later, Jason and Vanessa married in a small ceremony. A friend told me, thinking I'd want to know. I felt only relief. This part of my life was done. I poured my energy into the company. We entered international markets, improved our products, and bought 2 smaller competitors. A year post-divorce, we hit $100 million in valuation. It was bittersweet without Jason, but I celebrated with my 80 employees at a company party, thanking them for their loyalty. I thought the worst was over. Then my assistant called. Jason and Vanessa tried sneaking into our office lobby with visitor passes. Security stopped them, per my orders, but their attempt worried me. I boosted office security, hoping it was a one-off. I was wrong. Vanessa kept calling the office, using fake reasons to meet me. Jason emailed board members, claiming he had secrets about the company's start. I told everyone to ignore them, and focused on a big board meeting with global investors. We were planning a European expansion that could double our value. The meeting was set for 9 a.m. Tuesday. We'd prepped for weeks, detailed slides, financial forecasts, timelines. 6 major investors flew in. The stakes were huge. I got there early to check everything. Slides ready, breakfast served, info packets at every seat. My team reviewed our plan one last time. By 8:55, we were all seated in the top-floor boardroom. I stood to start my welcome speech, excited about the opportunity ahead. Then the doors flew open. Vanessa marched in, dressed in a sharp suit, radiating confidence. Jason trailed her, looking tense yet bold. The room went quiet as everyone stared. Vanessa's first words hit hard. "Sorry to interrupt, but we have urgent business. We're here to claim what's ours." The investors looked puzzled. My team exchanged nervous glances. I stood frozen, stunned by their boldness. She went on, acting like she belonged. "I'm Vanessa Williams, married to Jason Parker, the unrecognized co-founder of this company." She pointed to Jason, who gave a stiff nod. My CFO started to stand, probably to call security, but I signaled him to wait. I wanted to hear their game. Sometimes, letting people talk reveals their mistakes. Vanessa slammed a folder on the table. "We have proof Jason helped build this company from nothing. His business smarts and financial support made it happen." Then came her bombshell. "We demand our 50% share of this $100 million company, not a cent less." The room went quiet. Investors shifted uncomfortably, unsure of the chaos unfolding. My team looked tense, waiting for my move. I took a deep breath and said calmly, "Not a penny. The divorce ruling was clear. This company is mine. Please leave so we can continue." Vanessa's face turned red with rage. She flung open her folder, tossing papers on the table. These prove Jason's role. Emails about strategy, bank statements showing our shared funds helped start it. Photos of the garage we both owned. I stayed cool, though I was boiling inside. Her documents were meaningless. Normal couple emails, not business plans. The bank records showed nothing of Jason's input. My assistant had alerted security, and our head of security stepped in. I gave a slight nod, and he entered. I turned to the investors. "I'm sorry for this interruption. My ex-husband and his wife can't accept the court's decision. The judge confirmed this company is mine alone. I'd never involve you in a disputed business." Vanessa didn't back down. She faced the investors. "Did she tell you how she sidelined Jason? Stole his ideas? Ignored his sacrifices so she could play CEO?" Jason spoke up, his voice shaky. "I was there from the start. I supported the company with my income when it was failing. I deserve a share. I signaled security. Please escort them out. They're not welcome. Vanessa got louder as guards approached. This isn't over. We'll go to the media, sue again, and expose Lila's lies. Jason tried to calm her, but she pushed him away. Security led them out, Vanessa's accusations echoing down the hall. With them gone, I faced the stunned room. I'm sorry for that scene. The company's ownership is legally secure. I can share court documents to prove it if needed. An investor from Singapore spoke. Maybe we should reschedule. This seems messy. I paused, then replied. I get your concern, but this is just my ex and his wife's desperate stunt. The court ruled clearly, the company is mine. Their claims have no basis. Our lawyers can provide all the proof you need. My chief legal officer backed me up. I handled the divorce case. The judge was clear. The company belongs to Lila. Their demands have no legal ground. The room's tension eased. We resumed the presentation, though the investors were still rattled. They asked smart questions about our expansion plans. By the end, 4 of the 6 investors gave tentative agreements. Not perfect, but not a total loss. As everyone left, my team stayed. My COO asked, should we be worried? I sighed. Let's boost security and have legal check our safeguards. But the company is safe legally. This was just a desperate move. Alone in the boardroom, I replayed Vanessa's entitled glare and Jason's weak stance. Their desperation made them unpredictable. That night, I called security to add more protections at all our sites. I also asked IT to double-check our cybersecurity. Something told me this wasn't the end. I was right. At 11:30 p.m., my phone rang, Vanessa, from an unknown number. You think you won, but this is just the start. You don't know what we can do. I should have hung up, but I bit. What's your goal, Vanessa? The courts ruled. The company's mine. Her laugh chilled me. Courts can be wrong. Justice doesn't always need a courtroom. Her threat shook me. Threatening me is a bad move, Vanessa. You'll see, she said, then hung up. I alerted security and my lawyer about Vanessa's call, documenting every word. Her phrase, justice doesn't always need a courtroom, haunted me. I doubled security at home and work, but couldn't shake the unease. What were they planning? I barely slept, giving up by 5 a.m. to check office security footage. At 6:15 a.m., Vanessa called again, her voice cold. We burned your company down. Good luck with your investors. My heart stopped. I dialed 911 while contacting security, hands shaking as I grabbed my keys and rushed out in pajamas and a coat. I told the operator about the threat and the claim my business was burning. They promised fire crews were on the way. I called my CTO Mark, who lived near the office. Mark, wake up. Someone may have set the building on fire. Can you check? I'm 20 minutes out. Mark, groggy but alert, said, I'm going. Should I call anyone? Alert the exec team. Tell them to contact their departments. If there's a fire, we need our disaster recovery plan now. Driving, I focused on practicalities to stay calm. Our servers had triple backups. Insurance was solid. We could rebuild. But what if early employees or night guards were inside? Traffic was light, and I reached headquarters fast. No smoke, no fire trucks. The building stood fine, reflecting the morning sun. Relief hit, then confusion. Was Vanessa lying? I called Mark, who'd just arrived. No fire here. Security says it's been quiet all night. Then my phone rang. Sam, our facilities manager. Lila, the old garage office is on fire. Fire department's there. Security system just alerted me. The garage, my company's first home, now used for storage, was across town 30 minutes away. I thanked Sam and turned my car around, heart pounding. Mark, the fire's at the old garage. Headquarters is fine. Stay there and update everyone. I'm heading to the garage. The drive to the garage felt like forever. I called 911 again to confirm they had the right address. They did. Fire crews were already there. As I neared, I saw dark smoke rising against the morning sky. When I arrived, the scene was wild. 3 fire trucks, lights flashing, sat at odd angles. Firefighters hauled hoses toward the blazing garage. Police blocked off the area, keeping onlookers back. My first office was swallowed by flames. The garage door had caved in, and fire poured from the windows. Thick black smoke carried the smell of burning plastic and paper. It was terrifying yet gripping. A police officer stopped me at the barrier. "Ma'am, you can't go closer." "This is my building," I said, showing my ID. "Someone called and said they set this fire on purpose." His tone softened. "Let me take you to the fire captain. He'll want to talk." The captain, tall and weathered, was directing his team. He turned to me. "Miss Parker, you own this place. Anyone inside?" "No," I said, relieved. "It's just for storage now. No one works here." He nodded. "Good to know. What's stored inside? Anything flammable or hazardous?" "Just old files, some furniture, outdated computers." "Nothing dangerous," I answered quickly. The captain went back to his team, and I stood watching my first office burn. That garage held memories: late nights coding, landing my first clients, celebrating my first million. It was just a building, but it was where my dream began. A detective, Rodriguez, approached me. "Miss Parker, I hear you got a call saying this fire was intentional." I told him about Vanessa's call and my ongoing issues with her and Jason. He scribbled notes, asking for their names, addresses, and any other details. "Any surveillance cameras here?" he asked. "We have some, but I don't know if they still work. This place has been storage for years." He nodded. "We'll check. Anyone else who might want to hurt your business?" I thought of competitors or upset ex-employees. None seemed capable of arson. "It's personal. I'm sure it's Vanessa and Jason." As firefighters fought the blaze, I spotted a familiar silver sedan nearby. "That car, it looks like Jason's," I told the detective. He sent officers to check it out. It was parked just far enough to avoid notice but close enough to watch. A sloppy mistake. The fire was contained, but the garage was mostly gone. My phone rang nonstop as news spread. Board members, employees, and investors needed answers. I stepped aside to reassure them. Our main operations were untouched. This was just a storage site issue. Business would go on. Back at the scene, Detective Rodriguez had updates. The sedan's registered to Jason Parker. We found gasoline cans in nearby bushes. He showed me an evidence bag. And they smell like fancy perfume. Vanessa's custom French perfume was unmistakable. She bragged about it often. Rodriguez added, "We're checking for fingerprints and other evidence. A nearby business's cameras might have caught something. We're reviewing that now." I gave him our security team's contact info to assist the investigation. As I left, he warned, "Miss Parker, you might want extra security for yourself, not just the business." I nodded, the weight of it hitting me. Jason and Vanessa had gone from harassment to crime. They'd destroyed property and could have hurt people if the fire had spread. Driving home, I called my assistant to cancel my day's meetings. I needed space to process the fire and plan my response. At home, I turned on the alarm and double-checked every door and window. My phone rang again. Our main office. "Lila, investors are worried. They saw news about the fire at our facility. Set up a noon video call to answer their questions," I said. "Stress that our main operations are fine. This was a personal attack, not a business issue." After hanging up, I sat at my kitchen table, head in hands. The adrenaline faded, leaving me drained and raw. My company had been targeted. My past had gone up in flames. This wasn't just harassment, it was criminal. But then a calm resolve hit me. Jason and Vanessa thought they'd hurt me by burning the garage. Instead, they'd given me the evidence to stop them for good. I showered, dressed sharply, and prepped for the video conference. By the time I sat at my computer, I had a plan to end their threats for good. The call went better than I hoped. I was open about the fire and our response. Investors respected my honesty and steady leadership during this personal attack. All 6 stayed committed to our expansion plans. As I ended the call, my doorbell rang. Through the security camera, I saw Detective Rodriguez. I let him in, eager for updates. "Miss Parker, we've made progress," he said. Neighboring business footage shows two people matching Jason and Vanessa's descriptions at 3 a.m., carrying gasoline cans. 45 minutes later, they run to a silver sedan and drive off. Soon after, the fire starts. Relief and triumph surged through me. Can you arrest them? He nodded. We're getting warrants now. Any more threats since the fire? Just investor calls about the news, I said. Nothing from Jason or Vanessa. He gave me his direct number, promising updates. As he left, I felt lighter. Arrests were coming, but I knew legal action wasn't enough. I needed a strategy to ensure they'd never threaten me or my company again. A plan was forming. The next morning, I called an urgent meeting with my executive team and legal department in the boardroom where Jason and Vanessa had stormed in days before. I updated everyone on the fire investigation and the upcoming arrests. Sarah, our chief legal officer, took notes. This opens the door for restraining orders, criminal charges, and civil lawsuits, she said. We can keep them away from you and the company. Robert, head of security, added, we need stronger protocols at all sites, access cards, more cameras, guards at entrances. I agreed and shared my plan. I don't just want to defend. I want to end this for good. We spent 2 hours crafting a strategy. Legal would pursue every possible remedy. Security would bolster protections for our people and buildings. I'd lead a small, trusted team on a special project. After the meeting, I asked Sarah and 3 top attorneys to stay. Go through every document Jason signed during our marriage, especially anything tied to the company. My team dove into years of paperwork. By afternoon, Sarah, my legal officer, burst in with a grin. We hit gold. Jason signed a spousal consent form during our second funding round, waiving all claims to the company. It was standard for investors, but it's huge now. I looked over the document, recalling how Jason grumbled, but signed without reading. That paper crushed their claims. Then my IT security team found more. Old emails from Jason admitted the company was all mine. In one to a friend, he wrote, Lila's killing herself on this company. I tell her to hire help, but she does it all. It's her baby 100%. I just stay out of her way. The evidence was great, but I needed to know why Jason and Vanessa were so desperate. I hired a private investigator to check their finances quietly. The results were eye-opening. They were drowning in debt. Fancy house, luxury cars, lavish trips, all on loans. Jason's career had stalled, and Vanessa got laid off. Bankruptcy loomed without a big cash grab. It clicked. They didn't want justice. They wanted money. Their desperation made them reckless but predictable. I had our security team monitor their social media and activities. Vanessa posted cryptic threats, one from the day before the fire. Some think money and lawyers make them untouchable, but karma burns what they love most. More proof for the case. We also learned Vanessa had a history of this. Her last relationship ended with a restraining order after she vandalized her ex's car and harassed his new girlfriend. This pattern strengthened our position. While legal and security teams worked, I set a trap. I leaked details through an employee tied to Jason's office about our upcoming charity gala, a fancy event with clients and investors. I knew Vanessa couldn't resist crashing it. The gala would have tight security and cameras everywhere. If they showed, they'd walk into a setup to expose them. The gala was 2 weeks away. Meanwhile, Detective Rodriguez updated me. Police searched Jason and Vanessa's home and cars, finding gas receipts, smoky clothes, and photos of the burning garage on Vanessa's phone. Despite the evidence, the DA moved slowly. Their high-priced lawyers called it circumstantial, delaying arrests. Frustrated, I met the DA, pushing for action. She explained the case's complexity, urging patience for a stronger conviction. We planned the gala down to every detail: security posts, camera angles, everything. We added plainclothes guards to blend with guests. Every entrance was watched. The guest list was locked, with strict orders to block Jason and Vanessa. But we expected fake names, so security had their photos and instructions to alert me if they appeared. The night before, I met my team to review. Our marketing chief confirmed everything was ready. With evidence, restraining orders, and gala security, we had a solid plan to stop their attacks. That night, I slept well for the first time in weeks. Whatever happened at the gala, I was ready. Their desperation was now my chance to end this for good. That morning, Detective Rodriguez called. We're tracking their communications. They plan to crash your gala tonight. Be careful, Miss Parker. They're desperate. I thanked him, assuring him security was ready. Their presence was exactly what I expected. As I slipped into a sleek black gown, a strange calm settled over me. Tonight, I'd end this nightmare and take back my story. The Seattle Hotel ballroom sparkled. Chandeliers glowed over tables with elegant flowers. A stage was set for speeches, with a screen ready to show our company's charity work. I greeted guests, clients, investors, employees at the entrance, smiling warmly. Security stayed discreet, using earpieces to stay in touch. Everything was going smoothly. An hour in, my security director approached quietly. They're here. They tried using fake guest names, but we let them in as planned. We're watching them closely. I nodded, keeping my smile for nearby guests. Good. Stick to the plan. Dinner and chatter filled the evening. I spotted Jason and Vanessa at a back table, eyeing me. Vanessa's bold red dress stood out. Jason fidgeted with his tie, uneasy. At 9:30, I took the stage for my speech, feeling Vanessa's glare. She thought I'd talk business, giving her a chance to cause a scene. I had other plans. Thank you all for supporting the Technology Education for Girls Foundation. I began. Your support helps young women chase dreams despite obstacles, like I did. I spoke about the foundation and our commitment, watching Vanessa whisper to Jason, growing restless. My charity focus was ruining her scheme. As I wrapped up, I paused, then said, I need to share something personal. Some of you know I've faced challenges from my recent divorce. The room hushed. This wasn't on the program, and it grabbed everyone's attention. I believe in facing issues head-on. My ex-husband and his wife are here tonight, uninvited. Eyes turned to their table. Jason slouched, but Vanessa stood, shouting, Yes, we're here because we've been cheated and silenced. Security edged closer but held back. This was unfolding as planned. I spoke calmly. Vanessa, since you want to talk, why not explain why you and Jason set fire to my company's property 3 days ago? Gasps filled the room. Vanessa's confidence wavered, then returned. That's a lie. We didn't do that. I pointed to the screen, showing clear footage of them with gasoline cans at the garage. Is this a lie too? Silence gripped the room. All eyes on the footage. Jason pulled at Vanessa's arm, but she brushed him off, yelling, That proves nothing. You faked it. I stayed steady. We have your threatening calls, your social media posts planning the fire, witnesses who saw your car, plus police evidence, gas cans with your prints and clothes with accelerant. Vanessa paled. Jason stood, looking for an escape. Tonight isn't about charges, I said. The police will handle that. Tonight is about truth. My company came from my vision and hard work. You contributed nothing. Your desperate acts only made my team and investors more loyal. Suddenly, Detective Rodriguez and officers stormed the ballroom. Vanessa lunged toward the stage, shouting, She won't get away with this. This company is ours. Tell them, Jason. Jason, panicked and trapped, cracked. I didn't help her. It was all Lila's idea, her work. I did nothing. The fire was your plan, Vanessa. You said it'd force her to settle. I never wanted this. Officers read them their rights as they cuffed them. Vanessa fought, yelling threats, while Jason slumped in defeat. Their voices faded as security led them out. I faced the stunned crowd. I'm sorry for that drama. Let's get back to tonight's true purpose, supporting young women with big dreams and bigger challenges. Applause erupted. Throughout the night, clients, investors, and employees came to me, praising how I handled it. The gala, despite the chaos, or maybe because of it, raised record funds for the foundation. After the last guest left, I sat alone in the empty ballroom, drained. The confrontation went better than planned. Jason's public confession was a surprise, but it guaranteed they couldn't threaten my company again. My security director brought me tea. You did it, Lila. It's over. I smiled, taking the cup. Almost. But we're close. The gala's fallout moved fast. Jason and Vanessa were charged with arson, breaking and entering, property destruction, harassment, and attempted extortion. Jason's confession and the evidence crushed their defense. Local news covered the arrests, and some national business outlets picked up the story. Instead of dodging the spotlight, I shaped it. I gave one careful interview to a trusted business journal, focusing on resilience and preparing for crises. The next day, I held an all-company meeting. My 200 employees, plus hundreds more joining remotely, deserved the truth from me. Standing in our biggest conference room, I felt grateful for their loyalty. "Thank you for standing by me through this mess," I said. "This attack on me became an attack on our company, on what we've built. Your support has been incredible." I laid out the facts clearly, no exaggeration. I shared plans for better security and confirmed our operations and European expansion were on track. An employee asked, "Are you okay, Lila? This has been a lot." Her simple question hit me. I'd buried my feelings to manage the crisis. "I'm getting there," I said honestly. "This was tough, but it's shown me our strength and why I started this company, to build something meaningful that lasts." The standing ovation brought tears to my eyes. Jason and Vanessa tried to destroy my company, but they only deepened my bond with my team. The legal process rolled on. Jason and Vanessa were denied bail due to their charges and the danger they posed. Their lawyers reached out, hinting at plea deals. I told our legal team to demand 3 things: a full guilty plea and public apology, legal agreements barring them from contacting me or the company, and a psychiatric evaluation for Vanessa, whose actions screamed deeper issues. Alongside the criminal case, we filed civil lawsuits for the garage damage, business disruption, and emotional distress. The evidence was so strong their lawyers pushed for a quick settlement. 3 months after the arrests, Sarah, my chief legal officer, called. "Jason wants to meet. He says he has info on Vanessa and wants to make things right." I didn't trust him. "Why meet someone who tried to ruin my company?" Sarah explained. "It's part of his plea deal. He'll plead guilty and testify against Vanessa for a lighter sentence. He wants to tell you their plans." After weighing it and setting tight security, I agreed to meet at the DA's office, with lawyers present and Jason in custody. Seeing Jason in handcuffs, dressed in prison clothes, shook me. The cocky man I married looked defeated, barely meeting my eyes. "Thanks for seeing me," he whispered. "I'm here to listen," I said, keeping my tone even. His confession stunned me. Vanessa targeted successful women, researching me before meeting Jason. He was either her partner or her pawn. He wasn't clear. Their relationship was a scheme to get my wealth. The worst part: the garage fire was just the start. Vanessa planned to hit our main office next, careless of employees inside. She'd gathered dirt on me and my execs for harassment. "I'm so sorry," Jason said. "I was weak, greedy, jealous of your success. What we did was unforgivable." I sat quietly, taking it in. His apology felt real, but it didn't erase the damage. "Thanks for being honest," I said. "It'll help keep us safe." As I stood to leave, he asked, "Can you forgive me?" I paused. Forgiveness wasn't mine to give yet, not after what he'd done. "Forgiveness takes time," I said. "Right now, I'm focused on moving forward. Justice is happening, and you can't threaten my company anymore." He nodded, accepting my words. Leaving, I felt no joy, just quiet relief that this was nearly over. Within a year, the legal battles ended. Jason took a plea for 5 years, with parole possible after 3. Vanessa fought but got 12 years for arson, conspiracy, and more. Our civil lawsuits won judgments they'd pay for decades, ensuring they'd never threaten us again. With the legal mess behind me, I focused on healing and rebuilding. The burned garage became an opportunity. Instead of just storage, I turned it into something special. A year after the fire, we opened the Origin Lab at a small ceremony. The rebuilt garage was now part museum, showcasing our journey from startup to leader, and part innovation lab for experimental projects. I spoke to employees, officials, and media. The fire took more than a building. It took a piece of our start. But rebuilding, we've honored our past and built for our future. The Origin Lab became our resilience symbol. New hires visited during orientation, seeing where our $200 million company began. Within a year, lab projects sparked 2 new product lines. The betrayal and attacks left scars, so I started therapy for trauma. It helped me process everything healthfully. I also joined a women's business leaders group, meeting monthly with others who got the struggle of leading through crises. Some became close friends and mentors. The ordeal changed me. I got smarter about legal protections not from fear, but wisdom. I chose my inner circle carefully, prizing loyalty and integrity. But I refused to grow bitter. I launched a mentoring program for female entrepreneurs, sharing lessons from my journey. It grew to support 100 women a year, focusing on those facing big personal or systemic hurdles. My company didn't just weather the storm, it soared. After the fire, we didn't slow down, we pushed harder. Our European expansion wasn't just a success. It blew past every goal I'd set. We opened sleek new offices in London, Berlin, and Paris, each buzzing with creativity and drive. Walking into our London office for the first time, I felt a rush seeing our logo on the glass doors. My team already hard at work, their energy contagious. Clients raved about our software, praising its simplicity and power, and our team's relentless innovation kept us miles ahead of competitors. By the 2-year anniversary of the fire, our valuation hit $250 million, a number that still feels like a dream I might wake up from. I wasn't content to stop there. My eyes turned to Asia, where markets like Singapore and Tokyo sparkled with opportunity. The potential was massive, but I'd learned from the chaos with Jason and Vanessa to move carefully, strategically. Every decision was weighed, every partnership vetted. Our core products, the intuitive tools I'd built from scratch for small businesses, remained unchallenged market leaders. Meanwhile, the Origin Lab, born from the ashes of that burned garage, became a hotbed of new ideas. Those experiments pushed us into bold, uncharted territory, keeping us at the cutting edge of the tech world. Occasionally, updates about Jason and Vanessa trickled in. Jason, still in prison, had become a model inmate. He joined rehabilitation programs, wrote heartfelt letters of remorse, and seemed to be piecing himself back together. Vanessa, though, was a different story. She spiraled, racking up new charges for intimidating witnesses, and even attacking another inmate. Their marriage, already fractured, ended in a quiet divorce behind bars. I heard about it from a mutual acquaintance, but it barely registered. Those updates were like faint whispers from a life I'd long left behind. Once Jason and Vanessa consumed my thoughts. Every threat, every betrayal weighing me down. Now they were just names, facts without power. I'd poured every bit of my energy into building, creating, and dreaming bigger than ever. The past couldn't hold me back, not anymore. I was free, and that freedom fueled everything I did. The company's growth wasn't just about numbers on a balance sheet. It was about the people who made it happen. My team, now over 200 strong, worked with a fire that matched my own. We'd been through a war together, legal battles, a literal fire, public drama, and it forged a bond no competitor could touch. We celebrated milestones with late-night pizza parties in the office, where brainstorming sessions turned into laughter-filled debates over toppings and ideas. Those moments, with my team sprawled across conference tables, scribbling on whiteboards, reminded me we were building something unstoppable. One evening stands out vividly. I was in our Seattle headquarters, watching my team collaborate on a new feature. The room hummed with energy, ideas bounced around, whiteboards overflowed with sketches, and someone's coffee spilled without anyone noticing. I stood in the doorway, unnoticed, and felt a swell of pride. This was why I started the company, not just for software, but to create something that made lives easier, that mattered to the people using it and the people building it. That night, I went home exhausted but buzzing, knowing we were on the right path. The growth wasn't without challenges. Expanding into new markets meant navigating different regulations, cultures, and expectations. I spent late nights researching, meeting with advisors, and learning from mistakes. But every hurdle felt like a chance to grow stronger, to prove we could handle anything. Our clients, from small startups to growing enterprises, sent emails thanking us for tools that streamlined their work, saved them time, and boosted their profits. Those messages were like fuel, keeping me and the team pushing forward. As the company grew, my personal world expanded too. I found a new kind of family in a group of women business leaders who'd faced their own battles. We met monthly, sometimes over strong coffee in a cozy Seattle cafe, other times over glasses of wine at someone's home. We shared stories, triumphs, failures, moments of doubt, and sometimes tears. These women understood the weight of being a woman at the top. The scrutiny, the loneliness, the pressure to prove yourself twice over. They became my confidants, my cheerleaders, and when I needed it, my reality check. One night, after a particularly tough week, one of them hugged me and said, "You're not alone in this, Lila." Those words stuck with me. I also started dating again, stepping cautiously back into that world. After Jason's betrayal, I was wary, maybe too wary at first. I'd felt the sting of trust broken, and I wasn't eager to let just anyone close. But I'd grown clearer about what I wanted. Someone kind, honest, and secure enough to celebrate my success without feeling overshadowed. I went on a few dates, nothing serious, just coffee or a walk in the park. Each one felt like a small victory, a step toward trusting again. I wasn't in a rush, but I was open, and that openness felt like a gift I gave myself. On the third anniversary of the fire, I sat down at my kitchen table, laptop open, and wrote an article for a major business magazine. I poured my heart into it, not dwelling on the drama with Jason and Vanessa, but focusing on what it taught me. How to lead through a crisis, how to shield a business from chaos, how to keep moving when the ground feels like it's crumbling. I wrote about the power of strong security systems, clear communication with stakeholders, and staying laser-focused on your mission, no matter what personal storms rage around you. The response was overwhelming. Readers emailed me, saying my words gave them hope or a roadmap for their own struggles. Business schools invited me to speak, and conference organizers begged for me to join their panels. I was choosy, only saying yes to opportunities where I could push for real change. Better legal protections for entrepreneurs, tougher laws against corporate sabotage, and more support for women navigating the business world's unique challenges. I wanted my story to do more than inspire. I wanted it to spark action. One speaking gig stays with me. It was at a university in Chicago, in front of 500 students, their eyes bright with ambition. I didn't give them the polished version of my story. I shared the messy truth, sleepless nights coding in a garage, the gut punch of betrayal. The moment I stood watching flames devour my first office, certain I'd lost everything. When I finished, a young woman raised her hand and asked, "How do you keep going when it feels impossible?" I looked her in the eye and said, "You decide what defines you. Not your setbacks, but what you build from them." The applause felt like a warm embrace from the universe. A reminder that sharing my story could light a spark in others. Those talks led to unexpected connections. After one conference, a young entrepreneur approached me, nervous but determined, and shared her own story of fighting to keep her startup afloat against a vindictive ex-partner. We ended up grabbing coffee, and I mentored her for months, watching her business grow. Moments like that made every scar from my own journey feel worth it. I made a habit of carving out quiet moments to reflect on what this ordeal taught me. The practical lessons were critical. Locking down security with cameras and access systems, tightening legal protections with ironclad contracts, documenting every decision to protect against future threats. But the deeper lessons, the ones that reshaped me, were about human nature, resilience, and the power of community. Success puts a target on your back. I learned that when Jason and Vanessa came for my company, driven by greed and desperation. But success also equips you with tools, resources, networks, knowledge, if you wield them wisely. I used to see documentation as paranoia, a tedious chore. Now I see it as armor, a way to safeguard my work without losing sleep. It's not about fear, it's about being prepared. Loyalty became my guiding star. In the good times, everyone's your friend, clapping you on the back at company parties. But when the world feels like it's collapsing, you see who's truly there. My team, my investors, even strangers who stepped up as allies, they showed up when it mattered most. I'll never forget the employee who worked through the night to secure our systems after the fire, or the investor who called to say, "We're with you, Lila, no matter what." Loyalty isn't just a word. It's a lifeline that pulls you through the dark. The deepest lesson hit me like a thunderbolt. What others try to tear down can become your foundation. Jason and Vanessa thought they could burn my company to the ground, both literally and figuratively. Instead, their attack made us stronger. The fire forced us to rethink our security, to innovate under pressure, to double down on our mission to help small businesses thrive. Their attempt to break me only made me bolder, more determined to prove them wrong. And their effort to isolate me? It built a community I never knew I needed. Colleagues who became family, mentors who became friends, and a network of supporters who reminded me I wasn't alone. I'll never forget a moment in the Origin Lab, a year after it opened. A young engineer, barely a month on the job, showed me a prototype she'd been tinkering with in her spare time. It was rough, full of bugs, but it had a spark, an idea that could change how our clients worked. We refined it together, and it became one of our top-selling product lines. That lab, born from the ashes of the fire, became a symbol of what we could do when we refused to give up. Every time I walk through its doors, I'm reminded that destruction can lead to creation, if you choose to rebuild. Another lesson came from the quieter moments. I learned to listen to my gut, that small voice that warned me about Vanessa's threats before they escalated. I learned to value rest, not just work, taking a weekend to hike in the Cascades or read a novel without guilt. And I learned to celebrate the small wins, like the day we signed our first Asian client, or the time an employee thanked me for believing in her idea. Those moments, big and small, are what keep you grounded when the world feels unsteady. Forgiveness is a journey, not a finish line. I'm still walking it, not for Jason or Vanessa's sake, but for my own peace. Letting go of the anger and pain isn't about excusing what they did. It's about freeing myself from their weight. Most days, I don't think about them at all. Their names don't stir anything in me anymore. They don't define my success, my company, or who I am. That freedom, knowing I've stepped out of their shadow, is my greatest triumph. I often replay that terrifying morning when Vanessa's call jolted me awake. Her cold voice claiming my company was burning. The panic was suffocating, the fear that everything I'd built was gone in flames. Looking back, it's almost surreal how that moment of terror became a turning point. It didn't break me, it sharpened me. It clarified what mattered. My team, my mission, my resilience. It showed me what I was capable of when pushed to the edge. Life doesn't follow a straight path. The worst moments, the ones that knock the air out of you, can lead to the best outcomes. Not because pain is inherently good, but because of how you choose to respond. My company thrives today, not despite the fire, but in some ways because of it. Those challenges forced us to innovate, to tighten our bonds, to define our values with unshakable clarity. We didn't just survive. We evolved into something stronger, something unshakable. I see it in the small things. The way my team rallies around a tight deadline, the pride in an employee's voice when they talk about our work, the emails from clients saying our software transformed their business. I see it in the big things too. The $250 million valuation. The new markets we're conquering, the Origin Lab churning out ideas that keep us ahead of the curve. Every step forward feels like a quiet rebellion against the past, a reminder that we turned their destruction into our creation. The journey hasn't made me perfect. I still have moments of doubt, nights when I wonder if I'm doing enough, if I'm leading well. But I've learned to lean on my community, my team, my mentors, my new friends. They remind me that strength isn't about standing alone. It's about knowing when to ask for help. And I've learned to trust myself, to believe in the vision that got me here, even when the path gets rocky. Have you ever had something you love threatened? Your work, your dreams, your peace? Maybe it was a betrayal, a setback, or a moment that felt like the end. What did you do? How did it shape who you are today? I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Your experiences, your resilience, your victories, they matter. If my journey resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might be fighting their own battle. Knowing you're not alone, that others have faced the fire and come out stronger, can be a lifeline. My story isn't just about me. It's about what's possible when you refuse to let the flames define you. Thanks for walking this path with me. Your darkest moments often hide the seeds of your greatest growth. Keep going, keep building, and don't let anyone dim your light.